Hello, aspirants, and welcome to another high-yield explainer right here at Rungta IAS Academy. Today, we're diving straight into an absolutely crucial case study for your GS Paper 2 Polity syllabus, specifically looking at multicultural federalism and linguistic minorities. I'm joined by Faculty B for a quick, rapid-fire analysis. Hello, everyone. Let's get right into it, shall we? Today, we are exploring the borderlands of democracy, focusing specifically on Kerala. We want to see how plurality actually plays out on the ground, away from those big, grand national narrative. To kick things off, let me pose a bit of a paradox to you. Why on earth would a newly elected member of the Legislative Assembly in Kerala choose to take his official oath in Kannada? Well, the case of AKM Ashraf perfectly highlights this everyday reality of linguistic diversity that exists right at our state borders.
Exactly. And, that brings us to a really powerful statement from him. AKM Ashraf, the MLA from Manjeshwar, actually told a journalist, "I'm a Keralite, but not a Malayali." Now, aspirants, decode this quote for a second. It brilliantly captures the complex identity politics playing out in borderland constituencies. Geographically and politically, Manjeshwar is firmly in Kerala. But culturally, linguistically, it's deeply intertwined with Karnataka.
The root of this is purely geographical and cultural. You see, Manjeshwar sits right in the Kasaragod district, directly bordering Dakshina Kannada in Karnataka. The local population traces their lineage, their family shrines, and their linguistic roots straight back to that region. And because they lack tertiary care medical facilities and big educational institutions of standing in their own area, they literally rely on Dakshina Kannada for survival, for higher education, and even for matrimonial alliances. Right. And this heavy dependence creates what we can call a subterranean strain of identity angst. Now mark this down, because this is a high-yield conceptual framework for your mains answers. It basically refers to the persistent underlying anxiety that minority groups feel regarding their distinct cultural identity when they live within a dominant state culture. Think back to the initial COVID-19 lockdowns. Karnataka blocked its borders, which essentially cut these people off from their roots and vital everyday services. Compounding all of this anxiety are the local fears surrounding the proposed Malayalam language bill, because, look, even with safeguards built in for linguistic minorities in designated areas, there's still a very real fear that this legislation could undermine their cultural moorings. But Kasaragod definitely isn't the only example here. To really grasp the broader picture of state politics, we have to contrast it with a totally different region, Idukki. Here, the borderland fault line shifts completely. While Manjeshwar's fault line is all about language and geographic isolation for Kannada speakers, over in Idukki, the primary fault line is actually landlessness among its sizable population of Tamil plantation workers. Absolutely. So the linguistic barrier there morphs into a socio-economic one. In fact, near Vudavayada, political campaigning actually happens in Tamil. The late Chief Minister V.S. Achuthanandan even initiated a major project to allocate land to these landless workers. But as is so often the case in our administrative machinery, bureaucratic incongruities, basically red tape, completely stalled these democratic promises. And the real tragedy? Their plight just gets swept right under the carpet the moment the election frenzy dies down. So, aspirants, how do we actually apply this in the exam hall? Let's map these ground realities directly to your GS2 Polity syllabus to help structure those answers. Those fears over the Malayalam language bill? That links straight to the protection of linguistic minorities. The interstate border blocks during COVID-19? Well, that's a perfect, real-world example to use for federalism and interstate relations. And just the overall existence of these divergent communities in the borderlands, that gets to the very essence of multicultural federalism. So the main takeaway is understanding the shared realities of these groups and how they contribute to democratizing a multi-ethnic society. The text gives us this incredibly powerful, ready-made concluding thought that you can definitely use for your essays. A society advances only when its groups can engage across silos. Reconciling with these unique, hyper-local identities is absolutely paramount if we want to see actual democratic progress. We are going to leave you with this mock UPSC question to chew on. How does acknowledging linguistic borderlands deepen multicultural federalism? Discuss. Try practicing a structured answer for this tonight. Use the Kasaragod and Idukki examples we just walked through to add real depth, which will definitely help you stand out to the examiner. That is excellent advice. The best answers, without a doubt, are always grounded in real, nuanced case studies just like these. Keep studying hard, aspirants, and we will catch you in the next explainer.